So my first question is, why? Why do this? Why put it out there for the whole world and not do what the rest of us do, which is like eat snacks alone and drink lots of alcohol? Why this?
When I came onto the scene with Every Little Thing, I feel like I set a precedent for the type of artist that I am, which is I write much like I feel like people used to say about Taylor Swift. Like, you know what's going on in Taylor Swift's life. Obviously, we have very different music, but I feel like I'm doing what I've always done. And I don't think if I were to have come out with something that shied away from what have happened to me, I don't think fans would have bought it. And I wanted to be honest for myself too.
It's got to be rough though, because you're doing things like this, right? You're talking to radio people and whatnot. And the thing that we're going to continue to bring up, because it's out there in the album, is the divorce, is Busby, obviously, and these things that, so I guess from my perspective, it's almost like you're continually reliving them over and over again with this album. Would you agree with that?
In a way, yes. You have to understand these songs have been written over the last year, which is crazy. Over the last, maybe not year, but 8 months. And I think that because I was able to write these songs and because I have a record label and a team that let me just emote and do things from my artistic self, it's helped me to process things even on a deeper level than maybe I thought I could. And sure. I'm so proud of this music. I'm so proud of sonically. I mean, I was thrown kind of a curveball last year and I chose to dive into music and I chose to fight in the way that I always have. And I'm really proud of this music. Like I feel more myself and more just sonically where I want to be than I ever have. I feel like there's no question where I'm going now, between I Hope You're Happy Now and Next Girl and all of this music. And I'm just proud of it. I'm proud of what I've done in the time of that I could have just like holed up and died.
Right. No, I mean, I think you're dead on. I think you should be proud. It's incredibly fantastic music. You're a great artist. You should know that. And I think that you do. I want to talk about specifically Should Have Known Better, because it's an interesting take on really a moment in a relationship where you're kind of being really negative on yourself, right? You're kind of saying like, damn it, I should have known better. But your take on it in this song is a little bit different. Can you tell me about the idea behind this one?
Yeah. This was the first song that I wrote in the collection. And I feel like you can kind of tell, I'm clearly assigning, I think when you go through things in life, whatever you go through, it's very easy to assign blame to yourself that really, honestly, it's just part of life. It's part of growing. It's part of growing up. Sure. Do we all see things? Hindsight's 2020 for sure. But I think in this moment, I listened to that song and I was assigning so much blame to myself and also assigning so much blame to the other person in this song. And I think like at the end of the day, I can see where I've grown from that, but I think that's initially what we do. We go, why didn't I know better?
Right. I want to talk about the song with Matt Ramsey from Old Dominion. So it's interesting because I'm looking at the lyrics of it and it reminds me kind of like the Chris Cagle song, which was by the same name back in the early 2000s, but it's the exact opposite of that, right? In that song, he's counting down the days of like them falling in love. And in this song with Matt, it's the opposite. You're talking about all the different instances in the failing of that relationship. Tell me how you guys came together in this song.
This is kind of a really cool story. Shane McAnally and Josh Osborne produced this album with me or this collection, and they've written a lot of it with me. And they very quickly, we figured out what this music was going to be about. And they were like, hey, we started this idea a few years ago with Matt Ramsey. They work with Old Dominion and produce them. And he was like, do you want to hear just kind of, I feel like it fits what we're doing here. And I never set out to write like a concept record, but it just kind of happened. So we were filling in the holes and they played me this partial, there was no chorus. Some of the verses were different, but they played me day one, what they had. And I remember being like, God, I mean, I so understand this feeling where you feel like, how the hell am I going to get through this?
Yeah.
You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to do anything. And even like the next day feels overwhelming, but it was like this uplifting moment of like, if you can just get through the first day, you can do it. And I asked if I could kind of like girl it up, is what I say. And Matt was awesome. And he was like, I could never figure out what to do with this, like do it. And so we rewrote it for me. And it's so cool because Old Dominion, they were like, oh my gosh, we remember this idea. And you kind of like made it 90s Faith Hill. And I was like, thank you. Thank you. So, and honestly, what's so cool about that song is like that ending. I remember listening to that last verse and being like, well, that feels like a really long time away. And you know what? I'm there.
Wow. Unbelievable. I can't wait to hear that one. I want to talk about March is obviously Women's History Month. I want to talk about some women in country music because that's the objective here. We want to continue to shine on you guys. You guys really deserve it and don't get it as much as you should. Number one, for you personally, who's your idol and why?
Dolly. I think I always say she's the quadruple threat. She is an amazing singer. She's an amazing songwriter. She's an amazing businesswoman, and she has an amazing heart.
Great answer. Nobody better than Dolly. Number two, who's the most underrated female country artist and why? Who should be shown more that's not?
Lindsay L.
Absolutely. Super talented.
She's one of my best friends, but that girl is a superstar and she needs more credit.
Just watching her play guitar is like unfreaking believable. She's incredible.
She's like the hardest working female I know.
It's a good answer. Number three, which one do you think of first when it comes to writing songs? Which fellow female country artist comes to your head immediately like, I want to write with blank?
Ashley McBryde.
So good. I love it. Number four, which one is the one you think of when it comes to day drinking?
Miranda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Absolutely.
If you could swap wardrobe with one of them, who would it be and why? Like, who's the most flashy? You're like, man, I wish I could pull that off kind of thing.
Karen Fairchild of Little Big Town. I tell her that every time I see her.
She's got that flair, doesn't she? Last one, getting a little bit more serious. So we've seen some really great and necessary changes over the past year or so, but the fact is still that for whatever reason, women in country music aren't getting played as much as they should be. And it's like 10%, I think was the last statistic that was out of what gets played on the radio. What do you think people need to do? Myself, fans who are watching this, listeners to country radio, program directors, etc. What needs to be done to change that, in your opinion?
You know, it's interesting from my perspective, and I feel like I may like step out away from maybe some of the other girls, but I moved here when if you had long hair, you were penalized. I mean, it was like you were a female, no way. And just watching what Kelsey's done, what Marin's done, what so many of these girls have done, and then to look in the last year, what I did, what Gabby Barrett did, what Ingrid Andress did, what Ashley McBryde did, I actually think it's on a really good trajectory. And I think if more women focus on the music and focus on the songs, great songs win. I mean, look at I Hope. Good Lord. I mean, that was such a mega song. And it's like, if we continue to just put out great music and fans continue to let people know that they want to hear us, because I always said, I challenge anybody to come to my show and tell me that women don't want to hear women. I challenge them to go to a Kelsey Ballerini show and say, women don't want to hear women, or a Carrie Underwood show. I mean, people want to hear women. I think it's just our job to continue to make sure that we don't just talk about the fact that women don't play women or that women aren't on the radio, and we just continue to make great music because it seems to be working.
And you know what? I think in today's age with social media, people are able to share songs like they've never been before. Like, you know, when I was growing up, it was like, hey, you got to go check out this album, right? And then someone would have to spend $14 to go hear the album. They're probably not doing that. Now you can retweet something and someone can click on it and boom, they can hear this amazing song from Carly Pearce or Ashley McBryde or, you know, Caitlin Smith or whoever it is. And I think that's certainly been a big help. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And I just think the more girls that can make a difference, the better. I'm pretty sure, didn't Gabby and Ingrid go back to back for debut singles going #1? I mean, like, when was the last time that happened? You know, just like things like that where you go, okay, things are moving in the right direction. And I'm just excited to be a part of it.
So last question, and then I'll let you go. The album 29. You finish this whole thing. Obviously, again, it's basically a diary. You're putting everything out there, your emotions out there for everyone to hear. What do you take away from this album? What do you think that you've learned or grown from or grown with, I guess, now that it's complete and you're sharing with everyone?
I think I leaned so hard into going after the music that I really have always wanted to make. And I found collaborators that really understood where I wanted to go. And so I'm proud. I wrote every song, which is the first time I've done that. And I really had a hand in the production. And I'm just proud of that. And then just when I look at this music, it really does make me want to cry, because I look at where I started. I remember feeling at my lowest, and now to see the redemptive fact of seeing so much good that's come from it. And I feel like we impact others when we are willing to share. And I hope that when people listen to this music, it gives them, which I've already kind of seen it in the songs that I've released through this time, and just being open and honest about my journey. It's okay to not be okay. And you'll figure out why you're going through this, and it's going to be okay.
I love it. Thank you, Carly. I appreciate everything. I appreciate your time. On a private note, because obviously this is going to air in March and I haven't heard the album yet, but seriously, I'm going through and I'm reading the lyrics ahead of our hang today. And I can't wait to hear this. I mean, I was blown away. That's saying something. If I can read it on my computer in front of me, and I haven't heard anything yet, and I'm already getting chills, I can't wait to hear it. Seriously, Carly, so excited for it.
That means so much to me. So I hope that you love it.
Thank you so much, Carly. I appreciate it. Have a fantastic day. Hope to see you soon.
I know. See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.
I'm just looking for my lip.